Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is December 6, 2023, and Barcelona have initiated contacts in order to try to sign Savio, or as he's known by his nickname, Savinho. Also, Barcelona are currently tracking a Swedish Whizkid, and no, this is not the same Swedish player that I spoke about in my last live stream. And finally, Barcelona are very, very close to finalizing the signing of a World Cup winner. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo. And this is Barca News' live stream, which is on every Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we discuss the news, not to be confused with the post-match live analysis, which are the live streams that start as soon as a match ends, where I analyze the match and the performance of the team. And of course, as always, we'll do a segment of news during this live stream, followed by the chat section, where I answer questions and get a discussion going. And for those of you who'll be watching the live stream when it ends, I will be adding timestamps in the description and chapters in the timeline in case you do want to skip through the discussion. Now, as always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you are looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, make sure you hit the kickback. They're currently having holiday sales, really great sales if you ask me. And if you are looking to place any sports bets, make sure you head to Bet Us. Both links for kickback and Bet Us are down below in the description. Now, let's dive right in the news because there's a lot of news to discuss today. A lot of it is good news, which is a nice change because I feel like lately all the news that I've been giving you has been bad one, but not this time around. Lots of good news today, so let's dive right in. The first news is maybe not so much good as I promised, but it's reported that Ronald Araujo has suffered a fractured jaw. Now, during the match against Atletico de Madrid, there was a challenge between Araujo and I think it was Llorente, where they were both running. Araujo falls, and then Llorente ends up hitting Araujo in the face with his boot, of course, by accident. And we saw Araujo not getting up on the floor, complaining of pain. And well, it seems that he has actually fractured his jaw. And a big testament to how tough this guy is. He has instructed Barcelona. He's not going to undergo treatment. He's not going to undergo surgery. Instead, he will continue playing and he will wear a mask. Now, this is absolutely amazing by our captain, or one of our captains, Ronald Araujo, who has already shown us how dedicated he is to the club. I mean, first of all, he's one of the best center backs in the world. He's always been a leader on the field, even before he was voted as a captain. He has played in the past with a broken hand, and now he's willing to play with a broken jaw because that's how dedicated Ronald Araujo is to Barcelona and how blessed and lucky we are to have someone like this in our defensive line. Now, the other news is also related to injury, but as you already know, Ter Stegen will undergo surgery this week. He will be out for 2 to 3 months. And of course, Inaki Peña will be Barcelona's goalkeeper from now on. He will be Ter Stegen's replacement. And I've seen a lot of reports lately in the media stating that Barcelona are going to sign another goalkeeper. They were talking about maybe De Gea, maybe Navas. All these names started to circulate about possible goalkeepers that Barcelona could sign so they could be the substitute of Inaki Peña in case something happens to Inaki Peña. Well, I'm here to tell you that the club has confirmed that those reports are all false. Barcelona are not looking to sign any goalkeepers in the winter transfer market. Inaki Peña will be the goalkeeper of the team, and Barcelona believe that he will be able to do the job until Ter Stegen is healthy once again. So no plans to sign goalkeeper unless, God forbid, something serious does happen with Ter Stegen during the surgery and maybe he's out for a lot longer. Then Barcelona could contemplate signing another goalkeeper because then it will be a longer period of time. There's a higher possibility that Inaki Peña could get injured. But since Ter Stegen will only be out for 2 to 3 months, they won't be signing anyone. Inaki Peña will be Barcelona's goalkeeper. And if, God forbid, Inaki Peña does get injured, then, of course, we do have the Barca Athletic goalkeeper, Andre Astralaga. All right, so let's dive right in the chat section. Let's do a few comments. Let's answer a few questions, and then we will talk about the Royal Spanish Football Federation, who have fined Barcelona for an incident that happened in the match against Atletico de Madrid. Okay, let's see. David says, Mo, Alex Garcia said he wants to play for Barca. Do you rate him? Okay, so I wanted to talk about this, but then I decided there's so much other more important news to talk about, so I decided to exclude it. But for those of you who don't know, Alex Garrido is the center midfielder for Girona. He's 26 years old. He made statements saying that he wants to play for Barcelona, that he's always been a Barcelona fan. Girona's coach was not happy about those statements because Barcelona are about to play Girona this upcoming weekend. As far as how I rate him, right now he is the best center midfielder in La Liga. So it's not a bad thing that he's saying he wants to play for Barcelona. But of course, Barcelona's plan are to sign someone who is young, someone who's a teenage, 17, 18, 19 years old, someone who has a long road ahead of them. That way they can, have a long trajectory at the club, and more importantly, would cost a lot less than someone who's 26 years old, who's in their prime. Would I sign him? Maybe, but that's not in the plans of Barcelona. Barcelona are looking for someone younger. All right, let's see. Lincoln, he says, hey, Mo, made it. Good to see you back, my man. It's good to see you back. Marek says, Mo, who would you want to sign as a big-name player, especially defensive midfielder? I'm going to come back to this question later because I do have to talk about the center midfield in a little bit. So I'm not ignoring your question. I will come back to it, but because there's a segment about the center midfield position that's coming up. And Blaurana Kule says, I heard that many outlets are reporting a huge signing for Barca in the summer. Kimmich, perhaps. The only way Barcelona could sign Kimmich is, as I've said in previous videos, is if Kimmich forces the hand of Bayern Munich. So Kimmich would have to say to Bayern, first of all, I want to leave, which would force Bayern Munich to start negotiating because Bayern Munich does not want to get rid of Kimmich. They consider him as a key player for them. So that's number one. And number two, Kimmich would have to tell Bayern, not only do I want to leave, but I only want to leave to Barca. That's the only way Barcelona could sign Kimmich because that would force the hand of Bayern, and then Bayern would have to lower their asking price because if there aren't any other clubs, raising the price up, bidding for more, then Barcelona could enter the race. Kind of like what Lewandowski did. Lewandowski told Bayern, I want to leave, and I only want to leave to Barca, and that's how Barca were able to sign him. It's the only way Barcelona could sign Joshua Kimmich. All right, let's get back in the news because the Royal Spanish Football Federation has fined Barcelona after the incident in a match that happened between Barcelona and Atletico Madrid this past weekend. Now, I told you about this past live stream on Monday that the referee, Sanchez Martinez, the referee who's in the middle of the picture on your screen, he was the referee of the match between Barcelona and Atletico Madrid. And it was discovered that during the halftime, he sent his lineman, Raúl Caballero. Raúl Caballero is the one to his right, or if on your screen is the one to his left. So it's the referee that's running, looking towards Sanchez Martinez. He's the lineman. The lineman is the one who has the flag, tells you it's an offside or not. Anyway, Sanchez Martinez sent his lineman into the tunnel to go spy on Barcelona players because Barcelona players were very upset about how Sanchez Martinez was handling the match. So they went in the tunnel. They were complaining about him. So Sanchez Martinez sent Raúl Caballero after the players. He was spying on the locker room to try to hear what the players were saying. That way they can include it in the referee report and fine or sanction those players. Now, the person who discovered that Raúl Caballero was spying on Barcelona's locker room was this guy on your screen. His name is Edu Polo. He's a reporter in Spain, but now he works for Barcelona as the head of the press of Barcelona. So he's the one who opened the door of the locker room, and lo and behold, there's Raúl Caballero with his ear on the door spying on the players, and he's like, what the hell are you doing here? He calls security. Security kick out Raúl Caballero. And it looks like Raúl Caballero tried to do it again after the match ended. So this was 2 times that Raúl Caballero tried to spy on Barcelona players in the locker room. Edu Polo discovers him. And what happens is that the Royal Spanish Football Federation decides to fine Barcelona for what happened with Edu Polo. They're saying Edu Polo was not in the place where he was supposed to be. I still don't understand the fine. I read the actual report 3-4 times. I read it in English. I read it again in Spanish. I still don't understand why they're fining him, but they are fining Barcelona because Edu Polo was not where he was supposed to be. Now, the fine is a small one. It's 602 euros. So that's chump change for a club as big as Barcelona. But it's mind-boggling. It's an absolute mindfuck, and excuse my language, that we have a referee that orders his linemen to spy on Barcelona players twice, not once, twice. And instead of the Royal Spanish Football Federation opening an investigation, punishing these referees, banning them from reffing any other match as it's supposed to be, what they do is they fine Barcelona. The victims of the spying get fined for the spying. It's like being raped, calling the cops, and the cops putting you in jail for being raped. Absolutely mindfuck. This is what's going on in La Liga. It's an absolute joke. It's a fucking disgrace. And when you think it's gotten worse, you think you reached the bottom, it only gets worse and worse. Absolutely mind-blowing. But that's what's going on. And let's get back to the chat section. And you guys let me know, what do you think about this whole fiasco with the referee spying on Barcelona and Barcelona getting fined for it. And then we will talk about some retractions that one of the media outlets in Spain has had to make as a result of the lawsuits that Barcelona have filed. All right, let's see. I'm sorry if I butcher your name. Oh, there we go. But Mbayoroka says, whom do you prefer, Kimmich or Subimendi? Skill-wise, head-to-head, I would prefer Kimmich. I think he's a much more talented player than Subimendi. But if I have to sign one as Barcelona, I would probably sign Subimendi only because he's younger. He's more of a Barcelona-style player, and he's the one who Xabi wants, right? After all, you gotta give the coach what he asks for because that's the piece that he wants. That's what's gonna work best. But head-to-head, not like forget about whether Barcelona want him or not. Head-to-head, obviously Kimmich is a better player, but I would sign Subimendi because that would be a better fit for Barcelona. And Klaus in the comment section, he says, hi Mo, what's up, Klaus? Really glad you're in the chat section. Grandmaster Yoda says, I would be worried if I was Alex Garcia. Araujo's gonna look scary. Oh, yes, he will with that mask. And Klaus says he embodies Puyol. Yes, he does. Araujo definitely embodies. But I think he's better than Puyol. And I'll tell you what, Puyol was not necessarily the best technically gifted player, but the fact that he played with so much heart and the way he defended the Barcelona colors, that's what made him such a great captain. He was a great leader. He was strong. He never gave up. He gave it his 100%, but was not necessarily the most technically gifted defender. Araujo, just like Puyol, as far as character, leadership, etc., but he is more technically gifted than Puyol. So I think in that aspect, he's a little bit better than Puyol. Of course, Araujo has a long way to fill Puyol's shoes. You know, Puyol will be our eternal captain. Not saying that Araujo cannot, but at this stage in his career, he's not there yet. Okay, we'll do one more comment and then we'll get back to the news because there's a lot of news, guys. Maddox says, De Gea does not make sense. Don't worry. Barcelona are not signing anyone for the goalkeeper. And Vinix says, I heard about something that Barca will spend big next transfer. Any news? Yeah, I've had a lot of people comment about that. I don't know where people are hearing this about Barcelona spending a lot. Look, our hands are very much tied. This whole news, I don't know where it's coming from. I think sometimes when there's slow news, some media outlets or Twitter accounts start making up crap. I'm not saying that Barcelona are not going to spend big, but as of today, that's not the plan because we're still 170 million euros over our wage limit. So before we can sign, we have to bring that down. We have to get rid of 170 million euros from our wage limit before we can even start signing. Once we've done that, we still have to register Gavi because he's only registered under judicial order, not under the financial fair play rules. We have to register Vitor Roque because as you recall, Vitor Roque is coming on loan for this second half of the season. So next summer, we're going to actually have to register him as a permanent player. We have to register Inigo Martinez, whose only part of his contract has been registered. So we still have to do those three things. Oh, and there's Xavi. Xavi's contract has also not been registered. So we have to do all those, bring down our wage limit, our salary bill by 170 million euros, do all those registrations, and then think about signing players. So I don't know where this news is coming from that we're going to make some big signing, because we still have a lot of work to do with the current players that we have, let alone before we can even start thinking about making a big signing. Again, I'm not saying that's not going to happen, but I don't know how media outlets can say it's going to for sure happen. It's just, I don't know, impossible. Anyways, let's get back to the news, because the media outlet El Confidencial was ordered today by a judge to retract not one, not two, but 3 different articles. Now, we all know that there's been a huge media campaign to defame Barcelona ever since the whole Enrique Negreira case came to the spotlight. It's been a lot of media outlets and even private people just going wild, defaming Barcelona, writing articles left and right, spreading lies with no kind of thinking that there's no kind of repercussions. And as a result, Barcelona filed dozens of lawsuits of defamation against several people. Now, the first case that Barcelona won, I talked about in a previous video. This was several weeks ago. It was a former congressman in Spain who was forced to settle, had to pay some money for the club. He also had to retract and delete his tweets that he had published about Barcelona, and he had to publicly apologize about those tweets because they were absolute lies, saying that Barcelona had bribed referees and they had only won because they bribed referees. Well, today, a judge ordered the Confidencial to retract 3 articles and to apologize to Barcelona for all 3 articles. We don't know if there's any monetary sanctions. It's probably going to be settled, so if it is, we won't know about it because settlements are confidential, which is hilarious because the media outlet is called Confidential. But pretty much they had to retract 3 articles. One article was published in June where El Confidencial supposedly, through their amazing investigative work, had discovered that supposedly the tax authorities in Spain had fined Barcelona, and because Barcelona had paid players with cars, Audi cars, and charter flights, and then they had lied about it. Turns out there was no truth to any of that. All of that was a complete lie. So a judge ordered the Confidencial to retract that article and to issue an apology to Barcelona. And then the other 2 articles, one was written in January and the other one was written in June. They were both about the same topic, which is the construction company, the Turkish construction company, Limek, which are the company who are renovating the Spotify Camp Nou. And both articles alleged different things, but they go along the same line of news, where supposedly Barcelona picked Limek. When Barcelona picked Limek, they didn't follow the guidelines. Kind of suggestion that there was irregularities in the whole bidding process and how Barcelona chose the construction company. There was no truth to any of those 2 articles, so the judge ordered the Confidencial to retract it. So good news on that front as Barcelona continues its defensive operation against all these media outlets who continue to defame it. And of course, there's a lot more lawsuits pending against more media outlets who've been spreading lies. And I gotta say, man, at this point, this is 4 cases now that Barcelona have won. At this rate, I mean, I want to tell Spanish media outlets in Spain, please keep defaming the club, keep spreading your lies, because at this rate, all these media outlets are going to end up paying for the entire renovation of the Spotify Camp Nou. They're going to end up paying for Vitor Roque's signing. Hell, we might end up signing Mbappe and Haaland thanks to all these media outlets who continue to spread lies, and now Barcelona are going after them in court. So please continue your lies, continue defaming Barcelona. Barcelona will continue suing you, and we'll continue making that money off you. And who knows, maybe we'll end up paying off our entire debt. So great job to the compliance department in Barcelona and all the lawyers that are representing Barcelona on this work. Continue that battle. And come on, media outlets, let's pay for that Spotify Camp Nou. All right, let's get back to the chat section, and then we will talk about Savinho. Oh my God, we're already at 20 minutes, and there's still like 4 more segments of news and big ones. Okay, let's see. So we'll do just a couple of comments real quick. Let's see. Klaus says 2025 Barca finance will be healthy. Yes, hopefully. And like I said, if these media outlets continue to defame us, then even more money. So it'd be great. All right, let's see. DJ, we'll just go by DJ. Says, what happened to Michele Fall, the Senegalese defender? Michael Faye? Michael Faye is still at the Barca Athletic. He's doing great. He's still growing, but they consider that he's still not ready to make the jump to the first team. All right, let's see what else. Grandmaster Yoda says, this is just insane. And as always, nobody bats an eye. Like you said, a disgrace. Yes, 100%. And let's get back to the news again, because we do have a lot more news. All right, let's talk about Savinho. His name is Sabio. His nickname is Savinho. 19-year-old left winger, Brazilian left winger, who currently plays for Girona. He's actually belongs to Troyes, which is the French club. He's currently on loan from Girona to Girona from Troyes. And both Troyes and Girona are owned by the City Group, which is the same company or corporation that owns Manchester City. Now, we had talked about Sabio before because Barcelona have been very interested in him. They consider him a very interesting player, someone who fits the Barcelona profile as far as the wing, because he plays on the left wing. He's someone who can dribble past players, who can win 1v1s, who can assist, who can score, who can get through really tight spots. Barcelona have been tracking him for quite some time. They've been interested in him for quite some time. So I've talked about him in previous videos, but I said it is going to be difficult because the CEO of the City Group has said that they're going to try to keep Sabio within their organization. You know, they want him to keep playing with Girona so he can grow, mature, and then if he's good enough, he'd be sent to Manchester City or be sold for a lot of money. But despite that, Barcelona are keen on signing him because Barcelona have been trying to reinforce their left wing for quite some time. We don't have anyone that can play there. You know, we do have Joao Felix, but he's not really a natural winger. Barcelona needs someone for the left wing desperately. And it's reported that today Deco has made official contacts with Savinho and his entourage to declare Barcelona's interest and intent to try to sign the Brazilian player this upcoming summer. Now, Deco has been tracking Savinho for quite some time. He had already spoken to Savinho's family and the player, but it was more informal talks just to see, you know, how the player is feeling in La Liga. Does he like it? What are his intentions? What are his goals? What are his dreams, etc.? Just more informal conversations. So this is the first official conversation. This is the actual club, Deco, on behalf of FC Barcelona as an institution, reaching out to Savinho's or Savio's agents and letting them know that Barcelona are interested and that they will be going after him this summer to sign him. Very exciting. I do like Savinho. I think he's a very exciting player. We'll see how much the City Group are going to want for him. Just know that Deco has made official contact to sign the player. And this news was brought to you by Joaquim Piera, who is an absolute beast as far as the Brazilian market. And if Joaquim Piera says this has happened, you bet your ass that it has. All right, let's get back to the chat section, and we will talk about Ferran Torres, another winger, not as good as Savinho, but nonetheless, we do have to talk about him. All right, let's see. Tim says, hi, why is Barcelona after Wirtz? Our midfield is good enough. We have Pedri, Gavi, FDJ, and Gundogan. If we get proper left wing, Gavi could play more midfield, not to mention Fermin too. They're not after him. They've been tracking him for quite some time. He's a very interesting player, very promising. And, you know, when you have promising players, all the big clubs track them. There's always interest because you never know what's going to happen. After all, Gundogan is in his 30s, so he doesn't have much time left. It sounds like I'm killing him, but I mean, as a footballer. FDJ is 26, so eventually he's going to start coming out of his prime. You know, players get injured. Players stop working. You know, you always have to keep looking for players. You can't just say, I have players, that's it. That's just not how big clubs operate. They're always looking for more and more. Okay, let's see. What else? Let's do another comment, and then we will get back to the news because we do have a lot of news. Mike says, if Felix isn't a winger or a striker, what is he then? He's more of an attacking midfield. Kind of an attacking, more of an interior attacking midfielder. He's not a proper winger. He's someone more who likes to drop between lines and attack. But More of a second striker. Second striker. But he's not a proper winger. All right, let's see. Stealth says, yo, we should get a winger who can play both sides, like Ceballos. I mean, Savinho can play both sides. Also, don't forget Vitor Roque is coming, and he can also play on both sides as far as a winger, even though he is a striker as his main job. All right, let's get back to the news because we do have to talk about my main. Well, not really my main. I just wanted to say that. Ferran Torres, because the news is that Ferran Torres is now open to the idea of leaving Barcelona if things don't change. Now, Ferran Torres started the season pretty strong. You know, he trained really hard during the summer. He started training before the team started training, so he barely took any break. He trained really hard through the summer, and not only physically but also mentally. You know, talking to psychologists and therapists so he can get mentally strong. And he started out the season pretty good. He did well during the preseason and started the season pretty good. He scored a few goals. He looked very confident on the field, but unfortunately, his performance has been declining once again, and as a result, he hasn't been getting much playing time. So it's reported now that Ferran Torres, for the first time, is now open to the idea of leaving Barcelona if things don't change, especially since Vitor Roque will be arriving this winter transfer market. Now, Ferran Torres has already dropped all the way to 5th striker. You know, there's Lewandowski, Joao Felix, Rafinha, and even Lamine Yamal, who are ahead of him in the pecking order. So he's already the last striker on Xavi's list. Now we have Vitor Roque, who's coming, who not only can he play as a center forward, but can also play on the right wing. So that's going to put Ferran Torres probably as 6th on Xavi's list. So as a result of that, Ferran Torres now, who's already not getting much playing time, is seeing that his playing time can even get less and less. So he's considering leaving Barcelona. Now, there's also talks about how the fact that Matteo Alemany is now gone has also contributed to this decision of Ferran Torres to being open to leaving, because after all, and a lot of people make this mistake, people think that Ferran Torres was signed because of Xavi. It was not. Ferran Torres is Matteo Alemany's signing. It's Matteo Alemany who recruited him. It was Matteo Alemany's idea to bring him to the club. So he is Matteo Alemany's signing. So now that Alemany's not there to vouch for him or kind of like to protect him, then more reason that Ferran Torres is now considering leaving. Now, Barcelona did try to get rid of Ferran Torres this past summer. It wasn't possible because the player refused to leave. Another mistake that people make, they keep thinking that he stayed because of Xavi. It wasn't Xavi's request for him to stay. Ferran did not want to leave, so Barcelona were not able to get rid of him. But now, for the first time, Ferran Torres is open to leaving. Now, if Ferran Torres does leave, it's not going to be this winter. It's going to be in the summer because Barcelona have absolutely no plans to offload anyone in the winter transfer market. The only plan for the winter transfer market right now is to register the contract of Vitor Roque, and that's it. Anyways, let's get back to the news. To the chat section, and then we'll talk about another player that Barcelona could be signing the upcoming summer. Grandmaster Yoda says, would you rather Savio or Subi? 2 different positions. I can't really answer that. It's Savio is a winger, Subi Mendy's a pivot. It's kind of like asking, do you rather Mark ter Stegen or, I don't know, Haaland, right? 2 different positions. Can't really answer that question. Let's see. MS Comedy says, hey, Mo, watching you live from Gambia today, and the network is better. I really like the way you defend our team and updates about the news. I really like you all. Thank you so much. I'm glad the network is good. Thank you for watching and joining the live stream, and thank you for your comment. It really warms my heart to see people making this effort to join the live stream. And let's see what else. Malshita says, if Barcelona can't buy this high-priced players, why even bother entertaining these rumors? I mean, what's the point? I'm not sure who you're talking about. I've always made it clear that whenever there's rumors about Barcelona buying expensive players, I always tell you it's not true because it's never true. All right, anyways, let's get back to the news because we do have to talk about another Swedish player. Yes, you heard that right. Another Swedish player that Barcelona are tracking. During Monday's live stream, I told you about Rune Berg, the Swedish player who plays for FC Copenhagen, who Barcelona are looking to sign next summer or tracking him as a possible signing for next summer. And now Barcelona are tracking another Swedish player. And this guy's name is Lucas Bergvall. And I hope I'm saying that right. But Lucas Bergvall, he's a 17-year-old center midfielder who currently plays in the Swedish league. Now, you know Barcelona are looking to reinforce the pivot position. You know, they signed Oriol Romeo, who's kind of like a temporary solution because after all, Romeo is 32 years old. Barcelona want to sign a second pivot, someone who's young, who can learn and eventually become the starting pivot for many, many years to come, especially after the departure of Sergio Busquets. And this is one of the options that Barcelona are considering, Lucas Bergvall, who Barcelona are very impressed with the player. They're impressed with his physique. He's 187 centimeters or one. Anyways, I was trying to convert it into feet. I think that's 6'2", maybe. Yeah, 6'2". Height. He also has very known for his technical ability. And Barcelona have already been tracking him. And in fact, they've already made contacts with him and his entourage. Now, Inter Milan and Manchester United are also interested in Lucas Bergvall. And it's Inter Milan's objective to sign a player this upcoming summer 2024. But Barcelona are looking to hijack that deal away from the Serie A team. Now, Lucas Bergvall's contract expires in the summer of 2025. So that means this upcoming summer, he'll be entering his last year of contract, which is good. That's when teams always look to sign players when they're in their last year, because the clubs who own them get desperate because they know I either sell him now or next summer he leaves for free. And it's reported that the player is willing to come to Barcelona as long as Deco could accelerate the negotiations for him. So even though Inter Milan are looking to sign him, Barcelona are looking to hijack the deal, and the player would rather come to Barcelona than go to the Serie A. So Lucas Bergvall, 17-year-old, 7 midfielder, plays in the Swedish league. Remember that name because we will be talking about it for quite some time. All right, let's get back to the chat section, and then we'll do the last segment of news, which is that Barcelona are very, very, very close to signing a World Cup winner. Let's see. Marek says, we are good at buying players, but not at selling them. That's because Barcelona and every big club are not selling clubs. That's not our job. Clubs like Barcelona's job is to buy players so they can win us trophies. And once those players can no longer play because they're too old or they stop working out, then we get rid of them. And obviously by then they have devalued. Our job, Barcelona is not a selling club. Selling clubs are the ones who get players for very cheap, wait for their price to explode, and then sell them, right? When Barcelona gets a young player for cheap and then that player ends up exploding, we don't sell them. We use them because that's what we want. We want players to become huge so we can use them to win trophies, not to sell them. So that's not our job. We're not in the business of selling players. We're in the business of winning trophies. Okay, says Al-Hassan Mo, some players need to leave to create more space on the wage. Yes, so Alonso and Sergio Roberto will both leave at the end of the season. Obviously, there's all the loans. Dest, PSV Eindhoven have already said they wanna buy him. Lenglet, not fully working out at Aston Villa. Hopefully, we can get rid of him. So there are some players who will be leaving. And of course, Ferran Torres, since now he's open to leave, most likely will probably be leaving. All right, let's see. Amza says, Mo, when exactly is Vitor Roque coming? Vitor Roque is coming on December 28th. That's when he's landing in the city of Barcelona. And Ferran, Barca did give him time to prove himself. Yes, they did. All right, let's do the last section of news, and then we'll do more comments. But let's talk about the newest player who Barcelona are very, very, very close to signing, whose name is Al-Mujira Kabar. He is a 17-year-old left back who currently plays for Dortmund. Now, this player, Al-Mujira Kabar, just won the World Cup, the Under-17 World Cup in Indonesia, alongside our own player, Barcelona player, Noah Darvic. In fact, Al-Mujira Kabar is reportedly a really good friend of Noah Darvic, and he is described as someone who's very, very similar characteristics as Balde. Someone who's very fast, who can dribble past players, who has really good 1v1. And in fact, he can also play as a winger, not just as a left back. Now, Barcelona have been tracking Almujira Kabar for several months. In fact, Barcelona initiated contacts with the player and his entourage back in the summer, but it looks like the player had some doubts, and that's why his signing was prolonged. And the doubts is that Almujira Kabar has already been training with Dortmund's first team, but Barcelona have promised him to bring him to Barca Athletic for the second half of the season. And if things go well for him, then he could train with the first team starting in the summer. Meanwhile, Dortmund have already started to include Almujira Kabar with their first team to try to convince him to stay. So that's where the doubt lies. You know, he's already been participating with the first team at Dortmund, and Barcelona are like, here, sign with us, but you're going to play in the third division. So that's when his doubt is kind of been creeping. But it's reported that the talks are very, very advanced, and that Barcelona could close this deal in the upcoming days unless Almujira Kabar ends up backing away in the final moments. Hopefully not, because they say that he's a very promising left back, and his contract does expire with Dortmund in 2025, and it's reported that his signing fee would be very, very low. So this would be another player, another young, promising player that Barcelona will be signing for very little, kind of like Miko Faye, kind of like Donwa Darvic, and all these players that Barcelona have been doing a great, great job in scouting, identifying, and signing for very, very little, because that's what the club should be doing, signing these young players before they cost 100 million. That way we save a lot of money. And also, if they don't work out, it's not a big deal, right? If you spend $1 million on a player and it doesn't work out, you're out $1 million versus spending 130 on Ousmane Dembele and it doesn't work out. Now you're out 130 million euros. All right, so that's all the news. Wow, 36 minutes. Like I said at the beginning, a lot of news. Most of it was great. But let's do a few more comments and then we will end. All right, where did we leave off? Sorry, my allergies are killing me today, guys. David says, hey, guys, 135 watching and only 38 likes. Thank you, David, for bringing that up. Please, guys, if you can hit that like button. I know I mentioned this before about YouTube. Just release an update where likes matter a lot. The more a video gets a like, the more YouTube shares it with other people. So the more views it gets. And, you know, just takes a second. You just got to click. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything, but it helps me a lot. Especially, you know, when I see videos that have 5,000 views, but only like 300 likes. If half the people watching can just hit the like and turn it 2,500 likes instead of 300, I mean, the channel would just completely explode. So please, guys, hit the like button. I really, really appreciate it. All right, let's see. Manek says, Mo, how do you think Xavi will have to convince Koundé to play as a right back? We all know he doesn't like to play there. Pretty simple. He just has to tell him, look, I'm the coach. You do what I say. If not, there's the door. So you either play on the right back, like I tell you, or there's the door. All right. Grandma Sia says, man, the amount of times we've hit the pass, so unlucky. Post, sorry. I saw somewhere that if those shots had made, we would be leading. I saw that too. I saw that article. I thought it was a very, very silly article where they did what Grandmaster Yoda was talking about. I think it was Sport who did the article. They wrote an article they did if hitting the post counted as goals, where the teams would be at. And Barcelona would be leading La Liga table. I thought that was a stupid article because they had done a similar article where they compared if VAR wasn't around, what would the standings be? Or if VAR had gotten the call right and Barcelona would have been first. That makes more sense. It makes more sense to say, okay, what happens if VAR wasn't around? Because for the longest time, VAR did not exist, right? For over 100 years, we didn't have VAR. So that makes sense to make that comparison. Okay, what happens with VAR without it? But to say, well, what would La Liga look like if there were no posts? That's stupid because football has always had posts. So I thought it was a silly article. But yeah, the article says if posts hitting the post counted as goals, Barcelona would be top. I think a better article would be if all these bad penalty kicks that weren't awarded to Barcelona were actually awarded, then Barcelona would be first. We would have actually 6 more points and we would be first. That's a more important article to write rather than saying, oh, if you hit a post and it counts as a goal, where would be at? But anyways, Klaus says Ajax is a selling club. Exactly. Ajax, you know, there are clubs whose entire business model is to sign players, young kids with promise at very, very little cost, and then developing them and then making their price, you know, turning a profit of selling them. We don't do that. We sign young players. If they end up blowing up, then we keep them because we want to win trophies. All right, let's see. Mo Shita says, Mo, what's your expectation for this season? How far do you think we can go in UCL and La Liga? I'll tell you what. If we could continue playing in La Liga the way we played against Atletico de Madrid and against Porto, there's a chance we can win it. As far as the Champions League, I don't see us getting out of round of 16. Maybe quarterfinals, reaching quarterfinals, but that's as far as we would go. I just don't see us going that far. We're not there yet. In La Liga, there is a chance to win it, but only if we keep playing like we played against Atletico Madrid. If we play like we play against Rayo Vallecano and Real Sociedad, forget about it. Even top 4 is going to be at risk for us. But yeah. Anyways, one more, and then we will end it. Box to Box says, I was happy when we first signed Ferran. I thought we signed Villa, but I was so wrong. I was too. I mean, he was supposed to be. Ferran at Valencia was absolutely phenomenal to watch. But I guess Barcelona was just too big of a club for him, which is a shame, especially when you take into consideration that we paid 55 million for. It's kind of like Rafinha, right? Rafinha was great with what was that team he was with? Totally blanking. But then at Barcelona, he's not really a difference maker, and we paid 60 million for him. But for some reason, people are okay of saying we made a mistake with Ferran, but when I say we made a mistake with Rafinha, people just want to jump on me and be like, "Oh my God, he runs so much." I mean, look, if Leeds, thank you, Box to Box, Leeds. Apparently, running a lot makes you a great player these days. I mean, if that's the case, they should sign me, because if Barcelona signed me, I would run my ass off all 90 minutes. I would just run. I'll be horrible. I wouldn't be able to complete a single pass or a single dribble. I would lose the ball all the time, but I would be running the whole time. So I would be the best player on the team, because apparently that's the rubric that we're using now to measure players. Oh, he runs a lot, so he's a great player. I don't know what to say, guys. Anyways, thank you all for joining the live stream. Thank you for watching, for your comments. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. I will see you in tomorrow's video. Have a good night or good morning, wherever you are in the world. And as always, Visca Barça.